looking forward to the weekend. We certainly are. My name is Damian Pardo. I'm your host for the Forward Miami show. To my left, co-host Jonathan Casanas, or JC. He's on the board of directors of Forward Miami and a social media influencer. And to my right, Denise Brown, the CEO and founder of RJT Foundation. For folks that don't know what Forward Miami does, we're a nonprofit and we work on diversity and inclusion. We like to say that South Florida is a big salad and Forward Miami tries to be the salad bowl. So we try to bring everything together. Right, Denise?
Yes.
You know a little bit about us, right?
That's right.
So I thought a great place to start is a little bit about you. Did you grow up in Miami? What's your background here? How did you end up with RJT Foundation?
Well, I did grow up in Miami for a short period of time. I started the RJT Foundation in 2012. Sadly, after the death of my son and his best friends, they were all taken from us by senseless gun violence. And I wanted to turn my pain into a purpose. So I started the RJT Foundation, which is the first initials of each one of the boys' names. And also,
what were their names?
Roman, Jaquivin, and Trevin.
Trevin.
And also it stands for Restore, Joy, and Trust. And I thought that was important in the community after you've experienced a tragic loss.
How do you recover from a loss like that?
Well, I wouldn't say you actually recover fully. This is something that it stays with you until you leave. You know, the pain, it eases over a period of time, but that too, it comes with being involved. You know, for me, it's therapeutic, the foundation, because I'm able to not concentrate so much on my pain, but, you know, I'm able to help other people and help them navigate through the process. So I think that's important because you need support. Not everybody has family support and friends, so, you know, they need it.
I was mentioning to JC that originally when we met was probably 2015,
Right.
and you were already starting in that work, and the Gay Ocho Festival had sponsored you guys and given you $5,000 for the work that you guys do in the community and how important it is. And I remember back then thinking how, as somebody who lived the AIDS years, as a gay man that lived those years, we were losing people right and left. And I mean, you know, I'm not trying to make an exact comparison because there can't be, but you folks reminded me of us because I would see your vans filled with things from Walmart, right, for the next, and it was all us. Like, it's just who was there, who was left standing,
right,
to do that work. And I was really impressed with you and your group and the kind of help you give people and families when they're going through this.
Yeah.
I was also really shocked at how prevalent it is. I mean, when I went to the Day of Remembrance, it was a room full of 200 people, and everybody was Black.
Yes.
Well, why don't you talk about what the RJT Foundation does, actually?
Well, we help families who lose their loved ones to violent criminal acts. It could be gun violence, domestic violence, or vehicular homicide. Most of the cases are gun violence. It's very small numbers in vehicular homicide and domestic violence. Of course, you know, there's other organizations that specifically are tailored to cater to people who experience that. But the majority of the cases that we get are because of gun-related deaths.
And so you assist the families.
We assist the families. We provide care packages. In fact, since COVID struck, we've extended our outreach. Not only do we help families who lose their loved ones to violent criminal acts, but we started thinking about the elderly, what's happening to them, that they're stuck in their homes. So we reached out to the elderly population and taking care packages to them because they can't get out. We also thought about the homeless, who's reaching out to them, making sure that, you know, they have personal protected things like face masks and hand sanitizers and just, you know, some food in general. So we extended our outreach to them. We check on them once a month. We take them clothes, and it's because of kind people like you and other people in our community who help us. They donate some items to us, and we're able to refurbish them, make sure everything's clean, repackaged, and we, go out to the homeless. So we do more than just,
Yeah, it's
helping
amazing.
families impacted by violence.
And for people who don't understand the problem, how can you best explain it to them?
Well, let me put it this way.
Hmm.
Did you know that just since yesterday, over 29 people across America have been killed by guns? Just yesterday.
Just yesterday.
And today, and this day is not even over yet, over 3 people have been killed by guns across America. In 2020, over 19,000 people were killed by guns. So this is a serious problem.
And I remember, I think that year it was something like 250 kids, little kids, children,
Right.
here in Miami-Dade. We're not talking about the U.S.
Hmm.
Here in Miami-Dade were killed
Hmm.
by gun violence.
Yes.
I read an
In
article. Yeah, go ahead.
In Miami, this past 2-3 months, we've had, it seems like it's almost every week and sometimes daily that there's a case. A lot of these cases sometimes are down south, and you don't hear about them because the media is not going down south because it's so far, but they're impacted as well.
Down south meaning like Homestead and
Homestead, yeah. Hmm.
And I had read an article that during the pandemic things are getting worse, and I don't know if it's attributed to the pandemic, but they're saying that resources, specifically police resources, and those that are policing the area is not enough as it was before the pandemic, so it's getting worse. And that's a scary thought, especially now that we have more people coming down to Miami from New York and Atlanta and all these areas, and creating a little bit more of a riot in Miami, and in essence, it's going to uproar the rest of the community as well.
Well, the cases have risen, since you mentioned, since COVID. Actually, in 2019, there were over 15,000 gun-related deaths.
Oh my
In
God.
2020, that number rose to 19,000. So you see that the numbers did go up. And not to mention the fact that now, they have an easier way that you can get weapons. Like They have weapons that you can actually buy online. They're not put together, so they don't consider it weapons. But now people can pretty much do anything, learn how to put guns together, and they purchase these guns, and they're untraceable. So
Wow.
we have a serious problem that we.
So I have to ask you, why don't people see this problem? Why don't people see it? It stuck out so hugely for me when I walked into that room and I saw all these families affected.
People don't go to things like that. You took the time out of your busy schedule because you wanted to see, you wanted to know. Sometimes people don't want to know. They feel like, oh, it's not happening to me. It's an isolated case. That's over there. That's in that community. That's not in my community. So they don't have a clue, and they don't want to know. If they don't want to have anything to do with it if it's not directly impacting them. But this is impacting our communities.
All of us.
And now it's just not in our communities, but it's reaching out to other communities.
Yeah, and
mass shootings.
I honestly, those types of situations, I tend to stay away from, only because it's such a heavy topic. When you walk into a room like that, it's heavy on one's heart. And even with my family, when something bad happens or there's a death, I don't know how to handle it. So someone like me would probably stay away from an event like that. So it's more. There's more ways than ones why people wouldn't want to join in some communal event. Tough.
But it's so limited to certain neighborhoods. I mean, this isn't happening in all the neighborhoods. This is predominantly happening in certain neighborhoods.
Well, Damian, sadly, it is impacting the African American community heavy, and we get it from all angles. We have to not only be concerned about black on black crime, but we have to be concerned about police shootings. Teaching our children what to say, what not to say, how to act, how to respond. We're having conversations about a lot of different things and ways to try to help keep our children safe. because they're not safe.
What is that conversation like? What do you say to a child?
Well, let me speak about my son. I had two boys. One, of course, is deceased, but I have another son. His name is David, and he's 6'3". He weighs about 300 pounds. If you saw David, you might feel like, oh, this guy looks like he's a threat. Yeah. But he's the sweetest, gentlest person. He wouldn't hurt anybody. He tries to do whatever he could to help you. But just looking at him, you might feel intimidated. And those are some of the conversations. I'm afraid for him, and I'm calling him. Where are you?
What do you tell him to do? What do you tell him to do?
And
he can't be smaller.
No, not to mention he has a hearing and speech impairment. So if a cop stops him and they're talking to him, it's not that he would be ignoring them. It might be that he really doesn't understand, or he can't really hear them, and that could be a problem. And then he could be taken upon as a threat.
Wow.
So I always tell him, I register his driver's license in the system, so they know if he's ever stopped that he has a hearing and speech impairment. So, just go a little easy. He's not ignoring you.
Yeah.
And I told him, don't say anything, just, comply. Keep your hands on the steering wheel and comply. Just best as you can. But, he doesn't really like to hang out or anything because he just doesn't want to take the risk. And that's sad because he should be able to go out and enjoy his community. But it's just not safe. And then I'm always calling, why you call me? I'm okay. But that's one of the things we as mothers are concerned about for our sons.
Yeah. I mean, that's powerful. Even just the thinking, like we were talking a little bit yesterday, even just the thinking of just being Black in Miami or America and going through those situations where you're worried because not just Black, but because also the neighborhood, the situation, everything piled on. It's just a lot. That's a lot to carry. I mean, you were saying, you don't like the heavy air, whatever, but you're living the heavy air.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
right.
And then what does that do to your mental health? I went to the emergency room once because I was having a heart palpitation problem, and it was serious enough when I got there, they let me in immediately. But in front of me was a much older Black woman who took issue because she thought I was being advanced, and I felt horrible for her because I got it. Like, I'm sure she's been advanced like that many times. And in this case, it was a triage situation, but I felt her pain even in that instance. Like, I'm having issues and nobody's looking.
You were literally having a heart attack. It could have been a heart attack.
It could have been a heart attack. So they let me through, but I felt horrible even after thinking about it because I remember her face, her expression. Mm-hmm. And her expression was an expression of, here it goes.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here it goes again. And kind of living like that. And a lot of my Black friends say that too. Like, they don't even bother because it's just the same. Even just having the conversation again, it's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, you live it daily. It's frustrating. It's disappointing because you say, why? We're the same. Just my skin complexion is much darker than yours, but I'm no different. But some people, they don't see it like that.
Denise, how do you
change people? You can only change your heart.
Yeah.
How do you what do you feel is different in your day, right? They always say it's best to ask what a Black person goes through, how they live their lives, and how we can help by bettering your lives and the lives of the people in our community who are people of color specifically. Like, when you wake up, like, are you reminded that you're a Black woman? Are you reminded that you're in the minority? Like, what is your day like, and how is that heavy on you?
Every day we're reminded in some sort of way.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as trying to, if you're at a stop sign and there's traffic, heavy flowing traffic, trying to be able to come out. If they see you, you thought, oh no, you're gonna wait.
Wow.
I mean, that it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
No.
Just be courteous. You see a
Right.
woman, don't even look at the fact that she's a dark-skinned woman or she's a black woman or
Right.
whatever, a person of another race or culture. Just be
Yeah.
kind and courteous.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
said a key point. Just be courteous.
Yeah.
Respect, right? It's just like basic respect. And for everything, for, color, ethnicity, or, trans, whatever the person, their experience that they're coming from, it means so much to just have a little understanding.
If we go in stores, um, I feel that they follow us as black people
Yeah.
more so than they would follow somebody of another race or color. And that's so irritating and so it's sad because if I go in the store and I always carry big bags because I can't carry small bags because I have too much stuff and responsibility, so I'm usually carrying a big bag. Why should I have to be followed in the store?
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
I have a bag like that.
And how do you respond to that? I mean, do you say something? Do you ignore it? How do you go about that?
Usually I ignore it, or sometimes like one day I made a joke with the security guard. I was like, "You scaring me?"
Yeah.
And
that's actually the best way.
It just makes them laugh,
Yeah.
And then they kind of ease up, And then by the time I get to the register and I have all this stuff, oh, she wasn't looking good. She was really into shopping.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because they always say it's true, because they always say, like, a lot of my friends are like, well, I can't be the angry black woman, because if I tell them off, like, get away from me, I'm not trying to shoplift, now I'm just the angry person. So it's so sad that you can't even react. You can't win. You can't win.
You can't win.
And then, for an example, you may be at your job. If three of us are gathered together talking or laughing, it's a problem. Why?
Why?
Three of you all, you may go to lunch together, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Why, when you see a group of us together and we're laughing and joking, it's like, oh, y'all spending too much time, or, why?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And I'm not saying it just because I feel this way. These are some of the conversations that we as black women we have. We'll usually joke and say, hey, we better not stay too long gathered at the elevator, There's too many of us.
A lot of times I've thought about it, and we also mentioned that a little bit, how, in my case, thinking of, well, if I put the Hispanic part aside and I only think about the gay person growing up as a child, becoming an adult, I think about the challenges, and I think I was able to overcome many things by not ignoring, like kind of creating a little bubble for myself that didn't see the way people were treating me. When they were saying really negative things behind me and even sometimes to my face, I just created this little bubble, that let me, and I thought, wow, that was really helpful for me. And when you can't do that, when you're carrying it from the moment you're born and maybe from previous generations, just that ability to move freer or easier through life becomes hard.
Yes. Damian, it's been going on for years. Even when we have our grandparents or people, that was before us, it's sad, but they had to have books that they had to look at to just be able to travel, to make sure that they were going, routes that their lives wouldn't be in danger. What is
that blows me away.
To be in America. What is that? And still up until about, I want to say 20, 25 years ago, there were still some towns in America that black people could not travel through. Why? In your own country? That shouldn't be.
No.
Denise, do you think it's getting worse, or that it's gotten worse? And the administration has changed, right? So hopefully things are going to lighten up. But during the Trump administration, it became more prevalent, like racism. It just became easier for people to be outly racist. It wasn't no longer let's chat amongst our friends or indoors. It's now overtly racist. Like, do you think that's a true statement?
Yes, I hear a lot of people saying that, and I kind of felt it. Like,
Yeah.
it just seemed like we went back 40
Yeah,
years.
right?
And I was like,
tough.
my gosh, what is this? And I was like, no, we don't want to go back.
Yeah.
We
No.
want to go forward. You know, everybody should be able to live together and not be worried about simple things. There's too much going on.
Or having your kids shot to
Right.
death in front of you.
Right.
Like in a regular, I don't think that really sinks into people in their minds. Like you're just at your house, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden a child, 6, 7, 3, gets shot,
hmm
dead.
We just went, I want to say probably about 2, 3 weeks ago, to a family, to provide a care package and also to offer support. A 6-year-old was shot and killed celebrating at a 1-year-old birthday party.
Oh, wow.
A 1-year-old birthday party, a 6-year-old was shot.
How do you do it? How do you find the strength to?
Normally, I don't even go out to things like candle vigils. I really don't like to do that. I think before that one, the last one I had actually physically went to was Tequila Forshi, and that was, back some years ago. And I went to this one because I was just compelled. It was like I needed to go because I had a message to deliver, and I wanted people to know, hey, listen, when is enough going to be enough? We have to take back our communities. And if it means risking something, even risking our lives just so young people can be able to live and be able to go out and enjoy the outside, birthday parties and playing with their friends and going to parks, we have to start saying more, doing more, and just being more involved. Like, take back our neighborhoods. Don't be afraid to talk.
Has it improved since you've been on this?
I want to say we still have a lot to do, a lot of work to do. Not just me and everybody.
All of us. It's all of our issues.
Right. We need a lot of support from like our senators and government. There's more things we need. We need more.
Like what? What would you want to see?
I would like to see, for one thing, I would like to see firearms. Like, it shouldn't be that people can be able to purchase firearms. That can save a lot of lives if they have more regulations on the gun sales and ghost guns. That's what they call them, ghost guns. If
What
they
are
have
ghost
more,
guns?
those are the guns that
They
you
don't
can
have
purchase
online?
and they don't have. Yeah, and you don't have. If they're
Like 3D?
untraceable, they're untraceable. Yes, and wow. you can, they don't consider those as weapons, but they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
How can surrounding communities better support you? It struck me that when you guys came to Little Havana to the lemonade stand and the gala, I remember that you had never been to Little Havana.
No.
How does that happen? Like, how do people from Little Havana never make it to, let's say, Overtown, which is close, it's right close by, or Miami Gardens or wherever? And what do you think we could do better?
And we actually, the volunteers, everybody enjoyed themselves, and we felt really welcomed, and we had a good time. And I think that's what cultures need to do. Maybe take the time to get to know you, see how we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be more conversations like this. Let me understand you, you understand me, and then maybe that could kind of like bridge it a little bit.
Absolutely.
You won't have so much hate because you understand. Oh, I know, why she's angry. Do you really know why we're angry? No, not until you have the conversation, not until you start reading some of the history books. Go back in our history, and then you can understand why Black folks are angry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And why do you think we're not having more of these kinds of conversations?
Well, some people, like, for different reasons. Maybe some people are really racist or have hatred in their heart, and they don't want to have the conversations. They don't want to see change. They don't want to move forward. They want to make America great again.
I know.
That way, right.
That way, you know,
Wow.
maybe. And then you have some people who just, it's not happening. I don't never see them. I'm not going to be around them, you know.
I feel like there are also a lot of people, I feel like I know a lot of people that are just scared. They don't want to be cancel culture, like they don't want to be called out as a racist, and they're so scared of being called out as a racist that they just don't know how. They don't know how to
Start the conversation.
Right. They don't know how to say things in a way where they're not insulting the person. They're afraid.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of like our black friends always say to us, ask us what it is to be us, and then maybe we'll give you an answer that you maybe learn from. Because if you don't, you'll never know, and you'll just keep treating us the same way.
Right.
So.
I remember as a gay man, for me, it was always an awesome opportunity when people asked me questions, and they would say, "This is a really dumb question." I'm like, "Listen, there's no dumb question," and of course, somebody different might have taken it as an insult. I never, ever would, because I was so grateful, because I understood that they were just scared. They were afraid. They didn't really know what we did in bed. You know, that was always a
well,
big,
yeah. Well, let's be real. There's some really kind of ignorant-ish questions that's
but those
insulting.
are the ones that need to be okay, though.
But,
They are okay, but when their intentions are less than genuine, and you could feel that when they ask you something off base. And they're, you know, they may start off by saying, "Excuse my ignorance, but, you know, what's a bottom or something?" You're like, "What? Like, why is it even relevant to your life? That has nothing to do with how you should treat me."
But that's the thing that
they don't know.
They don't know.
Right.
They really just don't know.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to make it okay for them to be able to say that and not feel like, oh, you know, like all of it.
That's true.
And with whatever it is, you know, with whether it's people who don't speak English, or the color of your skin, or that you're poor, you know, because that's a whole other issue. There's a whole other series of issues with people who feel stigmatized by the situation that they're living.
And that's why I asked you that question yesterday. How did your mom feel? I really wanted to know, like, you know, how do you break the ice?
Right.
To somebody.
She asked me how my mom felt when I came out.
When you came out?
I was 13, and I explained to her, like, she cried for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
like, the entire time. She's like, really? Like, yeah, she's Cuban. You have to understand.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I would leave my bedroom. If she saw me in the hallway, cry. I'd go to the dinner table, cry at the dinner table. You know, she was horrified. Her illusions of what she expected for me. Right, she was afraid. Same things. She was afraid for me.
And that's what you said. Sometimes people are afraid.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's interesting because when you said that, the Oprah's interview clicked in my head. I just was reminded, because they're saying that there was a lot of conversation in the royals that they were afraid that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's baby was going to come out dark skinned. Like, it's crazy that those types of conversations are still are being had, and that it's still an issue, the color of someone's skin. Like, how did that make you feel? Did you hear about that? Did you see the interview?
I didn't see the interview yet, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you, it's like, yeah, of course, you know. Was it that?
It wasn't surprising.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you see? That's interesting, because it's like it's an everyday thing for you. You're like, here we go again. This is just another reason, you know.
I think so much so that at least the impression I get from my friends are that they're just so tired of talking about it or thinking about it, that it's even just like a big effort for them to have to like address.
Sometimes it's almost easy just to say, go read something back in the history book.
Yeah.
Just read something.
Yeah.
Learn one thing that was significant in history that could make you or somebody in your family just put the shoe on the other foot and how would you feel.
Denise, that's great advice. We're actually getting to the closing. Can you believe how quickly this
Wow.
went?
Yeah.
You know, I love you and I love talking with you. I know JC feels the same.
No, this was great. Absolutely.
And we're going to do more of these.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot. No, thank you. You know, there's a lot more for us to discuss, and I hope we can create more safe spaces to have these kinds of conversations. That's
absolutely
the whole point. We're going to do more of that because we can do even more collaboration
on
stuff, a lot more. And I know you wanted to have a couple of dates that you wanted people to remember.
Right. Thank you for reminding me.
Sure.
Things that may not seem significant to some people that don't experience violence means a lot to families like mine and other people who've experienced a loss or who just have been impacted by violence. So when you see us and we are in our all orange or we're celebrating a National Day of Remembrance, we ask that you support us. National Day of Remembrance is always on September the 25th, so you can light a candle if you don't want to go out. And National Gun Violence Awareness Day is June 4th through the 6th, which is wear orange. And then Transgender Day of Remembrance is November 20th, but they usually have like a weekend of events. So we just ask that you support us on those days and maybe get
Absolutely.
involved some kind of way.
We would love to. You can count on us. Those are all important. And for everyone at home, hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to see you next week, same time, same day. Thanks a lot. Enjoy.